Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Unassisted Triple Play. I am your host, Hunter Mulholland, and today we are talking MLB baseball. So it's about little over 24 hours until the trade deadline tomorrow on Thursday, July 31st, and we've already seen some moves being made yesterday as well as today. Sir Anthony Dominguez was traded yesterday from the Baltimore Orioles to the Toronto Blue Jays. And he actually would appear in the game last night for the Blue Jays. He was traded in between double headers. So the in between the double header, not double headers. He's traded in between the double header, and he goes and appears in the same night for Toronto. And when he comes out of the bullpen, if you were watching the broadcast, or as you would probably see on Twitter slash X, you would notice that his number was upside down. So he wears 48 for the Blue Jays, and the 4 was right, but the 8 was actually upside down, which shows how fast they had to make that jersey last night that they didn't look to make sure that they put the 8 on correctly. I'm sure that they'll have that fixed for today. Doubt he shows up today for the Blue Jays. I doubt he pitches for them, but I'm sure that they will have that fixed today. He would throw one inning against his former ball club shortly after being traded from his former ball club. He'd throw one inning, 0 hits, 0 runs, 0 walks, 2 strikeouts against the Orioles. And then he was also, so the guy that he was traded for also had to do the same thing, except it wasn't a doubleheader. It was just an hour, like a couple hours, maybe an hour before game time. He had to walk across, and they were actually playing the minor league affiliate of the Blue Jays. So the of the Orioles. So the Blue Jays minor league affiliate was playing the Orioles minor league affiliate yesterday, and he was traded for Sir Anthony Dominguez and had to walk across the field to his new clubhouse and join his new team. More news this morning. This recently broke, maybe less than about an hour ago. Uh, the Yankees are acquiring Austin Slater. This was reported by Jeff Passan. Um, the Yankees are going to send number 18 prospect Gage, their number 18th prospect Gage Zeal to Chicago for Austin Slater. That was reported by Feinsand. The deal is now official. So it is an interesting trade. Obviously, Aaron Judge goes on to the injured list. And so now the Yankees have to find somebody in the meantime, as well as address the needs that they need down the road. And I think that they kind of came to the conclusion that Slater was the best fit. Um, Slater has been about as league average as you could possibly get. He has been hitting 236 as 5 bombs for the White Sox. His OPS plus is 99, just there, right below, right around league average. So uh, he's not going to be a guy that's going to come in and be a full time starter for the Yankees. I'm assuming as soon as Aaron Judge is fully healthy, the Judge will obviously reclaim his starting spot, and Austin Slater is going to head to the bench for the Yankees and just kind of be around down the stretch. They gave up their number 18 prospect for him, which feels like a high price to pay for a guy that's maybe going to start for your ball club in about a week's worth of games as the full time starter before turning into this rotar- uh, rotational piece that they're going to have. So it's an interesting trade to say the least. And it's it's not the worst trade in the world for the Yankees. They get something of value. It's not like they're trading their number 18 prospect for somebody that has shown no signs of being a competent major league ball player. Slater had a couple of good seasons with the Giants um, before bouncing around a lot last year and then eventually landing on uh, on the White Sox in the offseason. Now he's headed to New York to finish out this season, and the Yankees are looking to go on a run and make the playoffs once again and try and defend their American League championship. Moving on, shortly after my show posted on Monday, we got some news about Emmanuel Clase. He is being placed on administrative leave. I think that that's going to affect the reliever market quite a bit. Um, you have uh, Ryan Helsley, John Duran, David Bednar, Griffin Jacks. Those four, those are really the big four to me, um, of guys that I think are going to get moved, and all of their prices just rocketed up. Noah Hiles of the Pittsburgh Post Gazette reported that the Pirates are asking for a top five prospect for David Bednar, which is quite a high price to pay for a relief pitcher in its own right. Even though Bednar does have another year of control, um, and then Yohan Duran, there was Hug Watch um, last night, and was quickly shot down. But there was a little bit of a scare for people thinking that Yohan Duran was on his way out of Minnesota. He appeared to be hugging his teammates, and he was uh, in the bullpen. He ended up not leaving. So the thought process is that Duran's gonna go, it's just a matter of when, and a lot of the signs are pointing towards Thursday being the day that they go, because that's when the dominoes are gonna start to fall. You could see the dominoes start to fall today. I think that it's highly unlikely that you start to see a lot of things get moving today. I think you're gonna see more and more tomorrow, um, and you're gonna see something in the morning, and then after that, there's gonna be a flurry of trades and moves that are made because people are gonna start working down their boards. So Class A is obviously going to it raises the competition of everybody that is trying to go and get those relievers, and I think it even raises the price. I don't think that the Pirates asked for a top 5 prospect for David Bednar if it didn't seem that he was far and away one of the top 2 options at the trade deadline for people. I think the number 1 option is Yon Duran. I would follow it up with Bednar because he has an extra year of control. And then I would go to Ryan Helsley as the top 3 closers that are still in the market, especially with Emmanuel Clase being placed on leave. And so now you have to take him off the board because no team's going to take a risk on that. And let alone, I don't think that they can even trade him with him being placed on leave. So you take Clase off the board, and now you're going to sit there and you're going to say, okay, well, we've got a couple of options that we've got to look through. We need to go find out if my next guy is David Bednar. I got to go make a push for him. Once he's dealt, if I don't get him, then I have to move to my next guy. Um, and it's a lot of waiting for some of the guys that have the players that are lower on people's totem poles. Now you could see different teams having, okay, well, we like David Bednar, and then another team saying, okay, well, we like Yohan Durant, and then a third team saying, well, we like Brian Helsley. And so you could see all of these moves kind of happen at the same time, just naturally, because people rank their relievers differently. But I think that there's a consensus um, that Duran and Bednar would be the more likely two to go first, just because they have those extra years of control. If they are to go, that doesn't mean that I think Bednar's definitely going to go. Duran is probably in the middle on whether or not he's going to be moved. Um, but it's going to be Duran and Bednar and Helsley. Those are going to be the first 3 relievers to go, and then you're going to start to see everybody else go after that. Um, but it definitely is affected by Class A being being placed on leave and not being allowed to play and not being available, that definitely has a effect on the market that's going to raise some teams' prices because now the demand stayed the same, but the supply just got lowered because you lost probably the number one option for most teams is Emmanuel Clase. According to John Heyman, the White Sox have uh, removed Adrian Hauser from tonight's game. He's not going. He's scratched from the starting rotation tonight. He's not been traded yet, but they're holding him out in anticipation of a deal by tomorrow, and they don't want to risk the injury. This is coming from John Heyman. It's going to be interesting to see Hauser and how his market plays out. The starting pitching market is very thin. There's not a lot of fantastic options out there, so I think teams that have some of those options are going to take advantage of trading those away. I still think that the Athletics are going to make a move for two, if not three, of their starters. Um, I think that there are multiple teams that have some starting pitching that maybe in a normal market year is not the number one, two, or three option. But in this season, they are. And so you're going to see a lot of that tomorrow. I think that you're still going to see another slow day. You'll see some trades like we saw this morning with Austin Slater going to the Yankees. You're going to see that every once in a while throughout the day today. But tomorrow morning and probably around 2 o'clock Central Time, you're going to start to see a flurry of deals start to be made, and then you're going to get some scrambles, and you'll probably get um, some late trades in for pieces that were the very bare bottom of teams making moves, and it was made 2 minutes before the deadline. They got the paperwork submitted in, and everything is done. So that's why I think you still see a bunch of the bigger fish out there. Eugenio Suarez still hasn't been moved. Um, that's probably the biggest bat, and I think that he's going to kick off the market tomorrow. I don't think you're going to see um, a lot of hitters being moved, especially infielders, because Suarez can play first base. He can also DH. He can play third base. I wouldn't be surprised if teams were like, "Hey, you know what? Why don't we see if we can sneak a 30 something power bat so far this season? Maybe even he's going to get up to 50 into our second base spot." I think there's a lot there with Suarez. I think that the main targets are going to be the Cubs and the Mariners and even the Tigers. They're going to target him because they want him to come in and be a third baseman. But I think that other teams that even if they're not looking for a third baseman, but they're looking for a first baseman, they're looking for a designated hitter, they're just looking for a power bat in general. I think that Eugenio Suarez is going to be a guy that is at the top of people's lists, let alone just the third base market. John Morosi reported yesterday that the Padres, if they were to trade a prominent pitcher, examples are that Morosi gave were Dylan Cease and Robert Suarez. Their preference is to acquire an MLB left fielder or catcher in return. So they don't want to go get prospects. They want to go get somebody that is going to make their offense stronger. Um, they have had they put up some of the least amount of runs per game in the league this year. There are a couple of options. Now the issue is with Cease is that you're probably going to be trading with another contender, so it's going to be harder to pry an MLB caliber bat from them. But there are options that the Padres could go get, and if they don't even want to trade Cease or Suarez, they could use what's left of their minor league system because they did deal quite a bit of it in the past few years. They could go and deal what's left of it, or maybe some lesser tiered arms, and go get Ramon Laureano, Luis Robert, Stephen Kwan would come with a high asking price. I don't think that they have the farm system to go and get him unless they were to include Cease or Suarez, and that's going to be hard to do with where the Guardians are. The Guardians are not currently in a playoffs position. I think that if they were to trade Stephen Kwan, it's pretty obvious that they're not going for a playoff position this season. Um, so he's probably the least likely. Um, but Ramon Laureano and Luis Robert would both be fairly good options. And you could also see a multi team trade in that, very similar to how the Cardinals, Dodgers, and White Sox did last year with Tommy Edman, Michael Kopech, um, Eric Fetty, Tommy Pham, trading some of those pieces, trying to mismatch how uh, people want to make a deal um, to get that done, because the White Sox obviously didn't need Tommy Edman last year. The Dodgers obviously wanted him. He becomes the NLCS MVP last year for the Dodgers. They obviously wanted him. They needed him um, to go on that run and to be on that run. The White Sox were not adding for a run; they were adding for the future, and that's what they got in return in that. So I think that you could see that potentially um, with the Padres, but I do think that it is less likely that you see the Padres go make a move with whatever is left of their farm system. It's going to have to come with, we're going to trade one of our guys on the major league roster, but we're going to get somebody back in return that's going to help us go on a run and secure a wild card spot and be in the playoffs in October. Morosi also tweeted out this morning that the Giants are willing to deal their relievers. Um, Interesting to see. They're not too far out of a playoff spot. They're trying to chase down the Padres. Um, they've kind of fallen into a free fall recently. Um, and it's not to say that they can't get back on the horse and get ready to go, but it is um, to be known that they are falling apart and are probably leaning towards that seller. And if they go on a run with any pieces that they have left, then they go on a run with any pieces that they have left. But I don't think that they're going to be sitting there saying we need to go buy at the deadline. We're going to go and we're going to trade some pieces that have some value, very similar to how the Orioles are going to do it, how the Royals were perceived to do it before they started making moves that is trying to get them back into a playoff spot. Um, Trading those expiring contracts, trading those relievers, and getting some assets for the future that is going to turn the tide of their organization and turn them into somebody that can compete with the Dodgers, which is a very tall task in the National League West. That is going to do it today on the unassisted triple play. I've been your host, Hunter Mulholland. We are on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Please check us out on all platforms, any of those three. Um, and hopefully on Friday when we come back, if there's any massive, insane moves, expect a video tomorrow. But I would say more than likely than not, we will resume our coverage on Friday and talk about all of the trades that go on tomorrow, because there's going to be a lot and it's going to be a busy, busy day tomorrow for Major League Baseball and everybody working in that front office pushing that paperwork through. So give us a follow right here, leave a comment, subscribe, like it. Um, Follow us on uh, Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and I will see you guys on Friday.